I'm going to prove to you that you have the power to train your mind to help you get what you want. And I'm going to teach you about your brain so you understand why this is a superpower inside of you that you need to tap into.
Hello and welcome to the Real Success Show. I'm your host, Candice Mama. If you have heard of the high five habit or the 5-second rule, you are going to be thrilled at today's episode because I speak to the one and only Mel Robbins. Before we jump into this interview, be sure that you are liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people can find us. Now, without further ado, here's Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins, once again, it is such a privilege to have you, but this time on the Real Success Show. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Candice, the answer is always yes when you're the one on the other end of the phone calling. So I appreciate the opportunity to get to hang out with you, especially since we live so far apart. It's so nice to be able to be, here on Zoom and also on your podcast. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you, Mel. Mel, when I think about you, if I had to describe you, it would be number one, generous. I think you're so generous of the information you give, how you share of yourself online, how you speak and communicate information. I would say authentic, because as generous as you are, you're also very authentic about the dips and the highs and the lows. But I think the biggest thing is you've got this particular genius whereby you can take really big, crazy, almost overwhelming information and simplify it, and we can see that in the 5-second rule and the high five habit. And I think that is absolutely amazing. Would you agree with my assessment of you?
I would. And I sound like an arrogant jerk for probably saying that, but I would agree with that. And, one of the things that I want you to understand is that if you hear Candice describe me as generous, as authentic, and as being able to translate big topics down to a simple thing, and you immediately feel this pang where you go, God, I wish somebody would say that about me. Here's an incredible piece of advice. And this works like a charm, okay? If you want to change how you show up in the world, ask yourself this simple question. When I leave the room, what do I want people to say about me? Just ask yourself that simple question if you want to change how you show up in the world. When I leave a room, what do I want people to say about me? And the reason why this question is so incredibly empowering, it's transformational, is because it focuses you on how you want your behavior and your being to impact other people. And so think of the adjectives or the characteristics or the values that you want people to say about you. And when you just identify the things that you want people to say about you, Candice, whether those are values or traits or, kind of how you make people feel, once you know what you want your reputation to be, and the impact that you want to make, just ask yourself, what do I want people to say when I leave a room? And now you know exactly how to act. If you want to be perceived as a generous person, act like one. If you want to be respected as somebody that is a great listener, or somebody that is always lending advice or help, act like that. If you want to be somebody that is a good friend, act like that. And so you can reverse engineer your reputation. You can reverse engineer any changes you want to make. And it all boils down to this incredibly powerful and simple question. What do you want people to say to you? What do you want people to say about you when you leave a room? And then when you walk in that room, any room that you're in, freaking act like it. And so I appreciate that you said that I was generous and that I was authentic and that I can boil simple things or big things down to simple takeaways. And I think that that's also kind of intentionally how I show up in the world when I am interacting with other people, because I want to be that kind of person.
Oh, And you absolutely are. And I love what you just shared with us there, that if someone felt that feeling inside them, then it's just about looking at what is it that you're trying to create. And it also made me think of that feeling. If someone did have that feeling, it could be identified as jealousy or envy, right? Or one of those emotions that are like, oh, I'm feeling it. And you speak so interestingly about jealousy. I've never seen this kind of outlook on why jealousy can actually be a good thing. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. And, first, what I'll say about jealousy is it used to consume me. I mean, I didn't understand what jealousy was. And so when I would have the feelings of jealousy or envy rise up in my body, because, for example, I'll just give an example that everybody can relate to. Everybody has a friend that has a nicer house than they do. Everybody does. Everybody has a friend that takes nicer vacations than you do. And for me, when I was really struggling in my life financially, and when I was really unhappy with the person that I was, and I wasn't doing anything to change it, I was just kind of sitting in my misery. When I would walk into somebody's house that was a lot nicer than mine, the jealousy would just fly up my body, Candice. Like I would become like this kind of like, when you know people and you're around people that they're pretending that they're having fun and that they're cool, but you can tell they're just standing there judging everybody. You can tell that they're sort of annoyed. That was me. And I would feel this wave of jealousy because seeing somebody that had a beautiful house and seeing somebody that had the financial success that they were able to take their family to Disney World or able to go on these trips that I had always dreamt about doing. What's interesting is I became consumed by my jealousy, and it's paralyzing and it's suffocating and it's invalidating because I believed that seeing somebody else have what I want meant that I was inferior. It meant that I would never have it. It meant that somebody beat me to it. It was like a reminder of what I hadn't created in my life. And so because I didn't understand jealousy, I literally would let it eat me alive. I would go to a party or drop off my kids at, friends' houses that were so much nicer. And I would just stand there and I even wouldn't want to hang out because I was so jealous of how great everything looked and like their success. And I would leave their house annoyed. And then if I was near my husband, I, of course, would then project that annoyance at him as if somehow it's his fault that I don't have the things that I want in my life. And that is the secret around jealousy, everybody. Jealousy doesn't mean that you're never going to get what you want. Jealousy doesn't mean that you're inferior. Jealousy is a directional signal. When you feel that wave of envy or jealousy just rip through your body, when you feel yourself get tense, when you feel yourself get annoyed, when you feel yourself lashing out or being snarky because what's actually fueling that negativity, Candice, is jealousy, you need to wake the hell up and pay attention because your jealousy is a 5-alarm bell trying to signal you that there are things in your life that you deeply desire that are aligned with your soul that you're not doing anything to work for. And for me, what was happening in that point in my life is, my husband and I were in crazy financial stress because he had gone, into the business, as so many people listening to this podcast are entrepreneurs and dream of financial freedom and dream of being successful. I had those exact same dreams. I'm talking, Candice, just 10 years ago. And when we don't know how to get out of our own way, we tend to spin. And our very, very normal emotions of jealousy and envy and frustration, they can eat you alive. And the reason why they eat you alive is because you're not doing anything to move the needle toward the things that you want. I was not out there fighting tooth and nail to create financial independence. I was sitting in my smaller, dinkier house that wasn't as nicely decorated, wasn't as fancy, and I was frustrated, invalidated, pissed off, and annoyed that my husband wasn't as successful as somebody else's spouse was. Now, here's the huge lesson about jealousy. If you feel jealous about something, it's because there's something about what that person, that situation, that experience that you're looking at that brings the wave of jealousy up. There's something about it that's meant for you. What was meant for me in being jealous of all my friends' fancy houses or their kitchen renovations or the new car they were getting is that I was ambitious. I wanted to be financially free. I wanted to build that kind of success. And so it wasn't until I recognized, wait a minute, jealousy is trying to tell me that I want to go out in the world and build financial success. This is important to me. It wasn't about the kitchen. I went on to, make tons and tons and tons and tons of money, like more than I ever imagined that I would. And now I've even supersized my dreams even more because I realized even though I've outpaced what I ever dreamt I would make, now I'm like, well, I put a lid on that too. I might as well like raise the bar on success too. We didn't renovate our kitchen as soon as I started making money because it wasn't about the kitchen. It was about being out in the world and building success and creating financial freedom. After nearly going bankrupt, I didn't renovate my freaking house. I didn't buy a fancy car. I drive a car that was made in 2014. And the reason why is because it's the financial freedom and it is the building of something that is what was triggering my jealousy. 50% of what I make, I shove into savings. I put into investments. I do angel investing. I'm about to get into NFTs because it's about the financial freedom and the building of something. It's not about the kitchen. And so don't let your jealousy, frustration, envy consume you and paralyze you. Unpack it. There's some message in there that is literally drawn for you. I can give you another example. So before we started the podcast, Candice, you said that you were going to go on vacation. I said, well, what are you going to do? And you said that you live, in this beautiful town, you live in Cape Town, and you are going to take your vacation. Instead of going somewhere else, you're going to explore this insane place that you live. Do you know what I felt? Jealous. I felt jealous because I thought I've lived in Boston for 22 years. We are in the process of building a house in Vermont and spending more time there. And it occurred to me, I haven't been to the MFA, the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston in 8 years. I have not explored my city because I have not slowed down long enough to take the time and clear the calendar to do it. And so that jealousy is so important because it rises up as something negative, but inside it is something positive, which is as I do my planning for this coming year, take 3 days and take a vacation in your city because clearly something in your heart longs for that, Mel. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mal. And for me, how you describe it, it makes it sound like there's a seed, right? Every emotion has an emotional seed in it. And so it's about extracting the seed instead of acting out on the emotion. Am I interpreting it correct?
I love that analogy. Here's why. Let's imagine all your dreams are seeds inside you. And it's your job to literally remove the stones that are on top that cover it from letting the light hit it. And, when you remove jealousy, what you let in is inspiration. What you let in is curiosity. What you let in is permission to grow. And so you're absolutely right. Only those seeds that are in you trigger jealousy. Like there are plenty of people that say, are, planning a trip and I could be talking to them. They're like, yeah, we're going on this amazing cruise. There would be zero jealousy. I can't think of anything worse than being trapped on a cruise ship with people. Like I like to be able to move. And so there is no seed inside me that has a dream about traveling or going to exotic places on a cruise ship. I'm not jealous at all. But hearing you say you're going to do a staycation, literally it triggered something. And what jealousy is, this is good. Jealousy is that seed trying to reach the light, but it gets blocked. blocked by your insecurity, blocked by your anxiety, blocked by your fear. And so it feels trapped, which is what jealousy makes you feel. Jealousy makes you feel trapped in a life that you don't want. And so if you can remove the anxiety, remove the fear, remove all of the things that block you from leaning toward what you want, you could create whatever kind of beautiful life you want. Just pay attention. So the seed analogy is beautiful. I love that. So what seeds are inside of you that you recognize are blocked by fear or anxiety or overthinking right now, Candice?
Sure, Mal, that is so beautiful. And you mentioned a word, permission.
Now, hold on. I asked you a
Oh, you
question.
asked
What
me a
seeds are,
question.
yes.
Oh,
Yes, we
okay.
all want to know for you. Like,
Yeah, no,
what are the seeds for
absolutely.
you?
I think for me, it's definitely because I love interviewing. I love, having conversations like this. I think it's so interesting to me because I had a different show before I did this one. And, I would watch Tom Bilyeu and I'll watch Lisa Bilyeu, Woman of Impact, and different podcasts. And I would see like them interviewing a particular guest that I couldn't get. And I'd be like, oh, I'd feel that little bit of jealousy inside. And I'd be like, oh gosh, I need to get that person. So for me, that's usually what tends to trigger my jealousy, like seed, I would say.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Oh man, thank you for asking. That's so beautiful to share even. And coming back to permission, Mal, I think this is a big one in today's society. You shared this profound story that I tied to permission in my mind when I was reading it. And it's about the Uber driver. So you had a really interesting Uber experience. Do you want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just kind of give you, here's my opinion about people who drive for Uber or Lyft or any of the, car sharing services. When I see somebody pull up to pick me up and they're driving a Lyft or an Uber, I have the opinion that the person behind the wheel is driving Lyft or Uber because it's a great way to make money and meet people and network while they're working towards something else. That is not to say that driving Lyft and Uber isn't a great way to make a living. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I have the opinion that people that are drawn to do that are entrepreneurial in nature. They are strivers, they're hustlers, they work hard. They're just like me. They're up to something. And this is a flexible way where you remain in control of when you work, how much you make. And it allows you to also meet people and talk to people. And so I have this opinion that when I get in the back of a Lyft or an Uber, that the person behind the wheel is somebody whose car I'm meant to step into. And sure enough, there was this one guy, as we talk about the story, I wrote the story. He was actually in Boston. The truth is, for book reasons, you got to protect people's identity, but I can tell the story because I got videos of him. But he was in Boston. I land at Logan. I hop in his car and I'm on the phone. And, I typically am not on the phone as I'm getting in the car, but this time I was. And it was right before this daytime television show was launching here in the United States. It was a talk show, 5 days a week, big production. And so I'm on the phone with somebody from Sony Pictures Television about the launch of the show. And we're going on. And then I hang up the phone and the Lyft driver says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're in the car." And I said, "Why?" And he tells me that he has a dream of being a Black actor who wins an Oscar and becomes a director producer and creates other opportunities for Black and Latino actors in Hollywood. And I said, "Fantastic." And he said, "I think you're meant to be in my car because you're, clearly talking to somebody in Hollywood and you're related to the industry." And I said, "Yes, I am, because I am launching a television show." And so he goes crazy. He thinks this is a sign. It definitely is a sign when you start to see the dots connect between what you want and little coincidences having. But it wasn't the sign that I think he wanted, because I think he believed that I was a person that was connected to the industry he wanted to work in, and that I would magically give him an opportunity in LA. I think that's exactly what he believed. I did not do that. I was put in his car by the universe because I was supposed to give him a kick in the ass. So he would push through the fear that was stopping him from doing the work to get what he deeply dreams about. And so what happened is once he told me that he wanted to create opportunities for Black and Latino actors in Hollywood, I said, well, then what the fuck are you doing in Boston? If you want to play that game at your age, he was like 25, you got to be in LA, or at worst case, you got to be in New York. And because you got to be going on auditions and you got to put yourself on a collision course with what you want. And he's like, I know. And then I said, so why aren't you in LA? And he said, well, I don't have enough money. And I said, how much money do you have? And he said, I have $700. And I said, amazing. Is this your car? He said, yes. I said, drive it to LA. Like, that'll get you. Do you have anybody that you know in LA? Yeah, I know somebody that works on movie sets. Could you call? Like, so here's what happens in life. In life, there are two mindsets. There is either a mindset that sees and spots opportunities. This is a realistic high five attitude. Or there is a mindset that sees and spots the obstacles, the reasons, and all of the hurdles that are in between you and what you want. And you can tell in 5 seconds flat whether or not you are dealing with somebody who is going to make something happen or somebody who's going to stay stuck for a long time. Just pay attention to how somebody's talking. Are they talking about the opportunity and talking about all the things that they could do in order to make what they want a reality? Or are they talking about all of the reasons, problems, and excuses for why this hasn't happened yet? This is a critical thing to understand. What you focus on is the direction that your life flows. If you only focus on all the reasons why your dreams aren't happening, you can't lose the weight, this, that, the other thing, you will stay stuck where you are. Because once you see one problem, one obstacle, you will start to see more of them. It has to do with the way that the filter in your brain works. Your brain looks for things that are related to one another. You start focusing on obstacles, you will see more obstacles. The opposite is true, and that's super exciting. When you train your mind to focus on solutions, focus on possibility, focus on options, focus on what could happen, focus on being flexible about things that you could do. When you focus on ways to move forward, you will see more ways to move forward. And so this is why it's so critical that you catch what you're saying, not only to yourself, but what you're saying out loud. Because he could easily have said, I only have $700 in the bank. I'm worried that that's not enough. Can you give me 3 things I could do to help me move toward my goal of going to LA? Instead, everybody argues and defends their excuses. Well, I couldn't go to the gym because I'm too tired. I can't do this because I don't know anybody. I can't possibly take a course because I'm too busy. I can't do this because of da. And when you spend your time and energy talking about all the reasons why you can't get to the gym, you can't lose the weight, you can't curb your drinking, you can't find anybody that is worth dating, you can't do this, you're going to stay there. You got to start talking about how to push yourself out of bed, how to get yourself moving, how to get to the gym even though you don't feel like it, how to keep showing up on dates even though you haven't met the right person yet, how you're committed to building this business that you've started, even though everybody says no, the things that you're doing to shake off the failure and the rejection. That's what you got to talk about. You got to start to celebrate the small wins. You got to start to see the possibility. That's how you change your mindset. And that's how you build momentum. And so for this guy who was driving in the Lyft, That's who I became. I'm like, $700 will get you there. That's a person whose couch you can sleep on. You take a month to plan your runway and then move. Pick a date. Like, you got to be in the game. You got to do the work, or else you're going to waste your entire life thinking in circles about all the reasons why you can't have what you want. And all it is that's stopping you is fear. That's the only thing that's stopping you. And the one thing that will change it is action. And the faster that you get your mind and your mouth focused on talking about all the possibilities, all the things you could do, all the small things that are starting to work, the faster you will blast through that fear. It will be in the rearview mirror, and you will be headed in a brand new direction.
Wow. All of that, Mal, all of it is so incredible. And you speak about this philosophy of what we focus on expands, and you touch on it in the book. And I believe it's called the RAS or RAC, I'm not 100% sure. And you use the analogy of hearts, which I love, because I found out I live in a city with just hearts everywhere.
So explain to everybody what you've been doing, and I'll explain the science of what's happening.
Absolutely. So I've been going out and I've been looking for hearts. Right? I told myself in the morning, high five myself. And when I go for my daily walk, I say to myself, I'm going to start looking for hearts, And actually, to be honest, a part of me was like, where am I going to find hearts? That was the first thing that happened. And then I walked and I didn't find hearts for like the first, maybe 15 to 20 minutes of my walk. But then I walked through the park. And then a leaf is shaped like a heart. So I'm like, okay, the leaf heart is going. And then I started walking, Mal, and I kid you not, I started finding hearts like everywhere. I think I actually found more hearts than I could have ever imagined, because people just buy these heart stickers apparently, and they stick it on the back of their cars and at the stoplight and at the stop sign and everywhere. So when I got back home, I was like, okay, it's time to start writing on what it is I want to focus on.
Oh, I love this. So what you're talking about, for those of you that don't understand the power of looking for hearts, I'm going to prove to you that you have the power to train your mind to help you get what you want. And I'm going to teach you about your brain so you understand why this is a superpower inside of you that you need to tap into. The exercise is very simple. The exercise is to simply say, I am going to find a naturally occurring heart shape. At some point today, my brain, my mind is going to reveal a heart shape to me. It might be a heart in the top of your cup of coffee. It might be a leaf. It might be the shape of a cloud. It might be a heart that is a stain on the floor of a garage. It could be anywhere. And the reason why you need to tell your mind to show you a heart out in the world today is because I'm going to prove to you that when you tell your mind what is important to you, your mind changes its filter in real time, and it shows you exactly what you're asking it to show you. And I want you to first look for a heart today, because I need to prove to you that this is true. You are so committed to your excuses, your fears, your story, that you don't even realize that your mind continues to show you a world that confirms that your fears and your stories and your insecurities are true. First step, look for a heart today. When you suddenly see it and you're like, holy shit, there's a heart shape right there. I've been walking past this building every day, and right there in the discoloration of the brick on the side of the building, there is a heart. It is as plain as day. How come I never saw it? The reason why you never saw it is you didn't tell your mind it was important to you. Your mind will change. Your mind is trying to help you. Your mind is trying to tell you, you are beautiful, you are smart, you are capable, you are walking toward what you want. You can have what you want. Your mind is trying to help you. And so you've experienced the power of your mind showing you what you want before. When you look for a brand new car and suddenly you see the car that you are interested in everywhere. Or if you're applying to a university and next thing you know, everybody and their mother seems to have a sweatshirt from that university. You just told your mind that car, that university is important to me. And boom, now your mind is changing in real time to show you a world that reflects what's important to you. Once you understand the power of looking for hearts and you see in real time the fact that your mind is changing to help you, now you take it the next level, which is start changing how you talk to yourself. Start telling yourself that you're winning in life. Start telling yourself that you're doing a good job. Start telling yourself that you are capable, that you can get to the gym, that it's important to you to make healthy choices, that your boundaries matter. You start telling your mind that that stuff's important. Woo! Forget hearts, forget cars, forget universities. An entirely new life opens up for you because now you're training your mind to help you get what you want instead of what it's doing now, which is focused on all the things you've been complaining about and scared of forever. And it all begins by simply looking for a heart today.
Oh, I love it. And as you were speaking about, your mind is trying to tell you you're beautiful, you're smart, you're capable, you can achieve these phenomenal things. I want to go to mantras because you have such a great, perspective on why mantras don't work for almost everyone and how to start changing them in order to work for you. So why do you believe mantras don't work?
Well, mantras and just kind of positive affirmational statements don't work because you make the mistake of picking a mantra you don't believe. And here's the thing about your brain. Simply stating it isn't enough, especially if the mantra is the exact opposite of how your behavior has been. So I'll give you an example. A lot of people struggle with body positivity and self-acceptance and self-love. And a lot of people, the majority of people, pick apart their appearance. They don't look at themselves in the mirror, or when they do look at themselves in the mirror, they can't stand what they see. And what I'm here to tell you is that if you have been picking yourself apart, if you have been hiding in the back of every group photo because you do not like your body, if you cannot look in the mirror, there is no way that a positive affirmation of I accept myself, I love myself as I am, there's no way that's going to work because your own behavior of picking yourself apart and hiding back in the back of photos proves to your brain that you don't believe that you're okay as you are. And so it's super important that you not only change your behavior in small ways to align with what you want to believe, but to also pick a more meaningful mantra. So mantras can work if the thing that you're saying is something that you believe. So for example, in the example of body positivity, self-love, self-acceptance, all things that are critical to your happiness and your health. We know based on research that if you were just to be kinder to yourself, that would have the greatest impact on your happiness and life fulfillment, greater than any other behavior change that you could make. And so if you were to simply adopt a mantra, not of I love myself as I am, but I deserve to be happier. Or today, I'm going to make kinder choices. Today, I'm going to treat myself with kindness because I deserve that. Do you see the difference between these big declarations? I will make $1 million. I will do this. I am successful. I am. And then you go and you treat yourself like garbage and you smoke on your smoking break and you stalk your ex online. You do all these things that don't make you feel powerful. If you pick a mantra that is, let's kind of drop it down a little, lower the bar, pick a mantra that even if you're at a terrible moment in your life, you've made terrible decisions, you're in deep pain, you've done all this stuff that you regret, you still deserve to be treated with kindness. You still deserve to do one thing to support yourself today. You still deserve to make healthier choices. And so those are ways to use a positive statement that will change the filter in your brain. Your brain's like, oh, okay, it's important to you to be kinder to yourself today. We can get behind that. Now your brain can help you with that. And the next piece is making sure that your behavior today also starts to support that smaller declaration that you're making that is more reasonable for where you are.
The term deserve, I think is so profound, because I think in so many ways people don't, even when you wrote in your book about the high five habit, right? And when you discuss it, is people don't feel like they deserve the high five. They don't deserve as though they've done enough to warrant that, celebration or acknowledgement in some ways. And so when people are rewriting these mantras and they're doing that high five, in the morning, Mel, how do they start getting more at ease with that process of going with this new habit that they're forming?
Okay, so it's an excellent question. And I want to answer it this way. When it comes to happiness and fulfillment, there is a major mistake that you're making. And the major mistake that you're making is that you have the order of things in terms of what will make you happy and fulfilled in life reversed. You have been trained to believe that happiness, fulfillment, and self-worth is the result of achieving things. And the reason why you believe that happiness, self-worth, and fulfillment come from doing things or achieving things is because when you were little, you got a lot of positive attention and love when you got good grades, or when you made the sports team, or when you were in the play, when you were winning, and when you were doing things that other people celebrated. That's when you felt happy, and it's when you felt worthy, and it's when you felt fulfilled. What I'm on a mission to get you to understand is that when you're an adult, the order is reversed. You see, you're stuck and unhappy because you believe that until you make $100,000, you don't deserve to be happy and you can't be happy. You believe that until that number on the scale is 40 pounds lower, you do not deserve to be fulfilled, happy, or worthy. Until you believe that until you meet that person that is going to be your soulmate, you don't deserve to be happy, worthy, or fulfilled. That formula is fucked up, and it is screwing you up because you are withholding the thing that you need most, which is validation, encouragement, and support from yourself. And that's what's making you unhappy and unfulfilled, and what makes you feel unworthy. You've got to learn how to reverse those things. You've got to learn how to wake up as you are today in your life, even though you don't have the money you want, even though you're single, even though you don't like the way your body looks. And you need to learn how to accept, support, and validate the fact that you're still here, you're still trying. And when you learn how to support yourself and feel whole and feel worthy, even though you don't have all that stuff that you thought you needed, That's what's going to motivate you to do the work, to get the things that you want in life. And here's the truth. Achieving those goals will not make you happy. Making $100,000 will not make you happy. Finding your soulmate is not the secret to happiness. Losing 40 pounds is not the secret to happiness. The secret to happiness is working toward those things that you want, seeing yourself growing, and waking up every day exactly where you are and being able to look yourself in the mirror and see a human being that is worthy of your support, that is worthy of your celebration, and that is worthy exactly where they are, just because they're still breathing. When you can learn how to wake up and truly look at yourself and say, I know we're not where we want to be, but we're working on it. High five, here we go. That's the secret to fulfillment. That's the secret to self-worth. And all the rest of the stuff that you'll achieve when you feel worthy and fulfilled and accepting of yourself, whether it's money or it's relationships or it's building a business or it's getting in the best shape of your life or it's healing your trauma and your mental health, all that stuff is the bonus. Achieving your goals is not what makes you happy. It's supporting yourself and working toward them that will make you feel fulfilled, worthy, and whole as a human being.
Wow. That just, Mal, it just blew my mind because I can relate to everything. And I think, so many people listening can probably have a soul resonance with everything you've just said. And speaking of which,
well, can I say one thing, Candice? Because here's the thing I also want to say. I get, especially if you're watching this, that it's easy to throw your hands in the air and go, well, that's easy for you to say, Mel. You live in America, you're a white lady. You have clearly not got a lot of struggles in terms of your health. And, you have no idea what's going on with me and how hard it is. And what I will say is, you're right. You're right. I don't. But what I do know, having struggled with anxiety for 25 years, having been nearly $1 million in debt just 12 years ago, having liens on our house just 6 years ago when my business was taking off, struggling with postpartum depression, trying to heal childhood trauma, being married to somebody for 25 years who has long-term depression. What I do know is when you reverse the order and you start focusing on seeing yourself where you are and giving yourself the encouragement and support that you deserve, even though you didn't make it to the gym yesterday, even though you screwed up at work yesterday, even though you got too drunk last night, you can't remember what you did, and now you're worried about it, and you got all that hangover anxiety that people get, even though you hooked up with your ex and you said you weren't going to, even though all you did all this stuff you regret. If you can still wake up and recognize you're not perfect, you're never going to be. You're trying your best. And because of that, you deserve to support yourself, to celebrate yourself, and encourage yourself to do a little better today. That's the secret to everything. Because when you can feel like you have your own back, it doesn't remove the problems you face. What it changes is it changes your ability to work through those problems. You are your own best weapon in life. You are your own best superhero or superpower, or use whatever word that you want. Nobody is coming to go to the gym for you. Nobody is coming to go on that date. Nobody's coming to start the side hustle. If you want to change your life, stop bitching about where you are and stop making yourself wrong. And start encouraging yourself and cheering for yourself and make different decisions. Push your ass out the door and get to the gym. Put down the donut and make something healthy. Block your ex and stop getting drunk and hooking up with them. If your mother-in-law makes you miserable, put up some boundaries. This is your life. And time is going by, and it is only going to go by faster. I am 53 years old, and I am stunned by this thing that happens in life that nobody can explain to you until you get older. Every single year of your life goes by faster. Every single year. As you listen to me right now, this moment is the slowest moment you will ever experience in your entire life. The rate of change, the passing of time, it gets faster. Because when you're 1 year old, 1 year is 100% of your life. When you're 2 years old, it's 50% of your life. When you're 3 years old, it's a third of your life. I'm now 53 years old. 1 year, that unit of time, it is flying down the highway of life. And you better wake the hell up and realize that if you're going to change your life, it begins with a decision to do so. And that's where the power is. You are one decision away from a different life. And the first decision that you should make is to stop beating yourself up for where you are and start encouraging yourself to take a step forward in a new direction. That's how you change. There is no other way. It's not a sexy formula, but it works.
Wow, I think everyone needed to hear that. I think that
I needed to hear that. I like, I'm talking to myself here.
You're talking to me too. And I'm sure everyone watching, because, when you broke it down in terms of, when you were a year old, as opposed to as you keep aging, that this is the slowest moment you're going to have in your life. And no one can do it for you. No matter how much someone loves you, no matter how much, you can't love someone out of hating themselves. You can't, throw money at something that is an internal thing. And it almost makes me think of a quote, which is, what good is gaining the world if it means losing my soul? And I think that's exactly what it is.
Say that again. Say that quote again.
So it is, what good is gaining the world if it means losing my soul? So, and that's exactly what you're talking about, fighting for your soul, fighting for that person, and fighting to be the person you would be proud of when you achieve your goals, and not one who's like beaten and bruised by the time you get what you want. And that's so beautiful. And
Candice, since we're talking about souls and beaten and bruised,
yes,
I need you to hear loud and clear that you aren't the only human being that has done things that you regret. You're not the only human being that has experienced and survived traumatic situations. And I believe that part of everyone's journey in life is to, you're a kid and then you become, on the journey of becoming an adult, you screw up and you get screwed over and you get hurt and you have your heart broken and you hurt other people and you squander opportunities. And, all of us do this as we're just trying to survive whatever has happened to us or whatever is going on. And I think that one of the greatest opportunities of your life is to do the work to forgive yourself. Seriously. And what does forgiveness mean? I'll tell you what forgiveness means in my book. Forgiveness means that you stop wishing that your past could be different. That you stop wishing that you hadn't done the things that you'd done, or that you hadn't had to go through the things that you went through. Forgiveness means accepting exactly where you are. And it means you must stop wishing you could change what's happened. Because as long as you look back and you are wishing that you could change what happened, you are still bashing yourself, trashing yourself. You are stuck in regret and shame. It is only when you stop wishing that things could be different and you accept yourself exactly as you are that you will unlock the cage that you're in and open the door to an entirely new future that is yours to create.
Oh, Mal, I'm sure you don't know this, but I actually teach forgiveness. It's my core work. It's the thing I'm the most passionate about in life. And everything you just described forgiveness being is exactly that, right? It is about us. It's a tool to free ourselves from all these could have been, should have been, or even people, places that hurt us. And until we can release ourselves, we're constantly living in that trauma loop in our minds. I'm not good enough because my dad said it when I was 3. I'm not good enough because this, right? And it becomes the foundation at which we justify why we cannot become Mel Robbins, why we cannot become the best version of ourselves, why we can't reach success or get married, whatever it is. And so thank you so much for touching on that. I think it was just so profound. And I can't believe we're coming to the end of our time together, Mal.
Can I say one more thing?
Please.
So you said, so I can't be Mel Robbins. The purpose of other people in your life is very simple. They are there to inspire you and encourage you to be yourself. I am just a light on the path that you are walking down. And if there is something that I am doing, whether it's how I show up or how transparent I am, or the way that I've built a business, or something you don't like. I don't like that she swears, like whatever it is. That means whatever I am doing, positive or negative, it is a light on your path. And you either move toward the people that are doing the things that you admire and like, and they're just a couple steps ahead of you, shining the light so you know what direction to go, or you pivot in a different direction away from the people that are doing things that you don't like. That's the purpose of other people. It's to magnify what's inside you. Earlier in our conversation, we talked about the fact that your dreams are seeds. And those seeds are like under cement, and the cement is fear and self-doubt and anger and jealousy and frustration and trauma and all this shit that we put on top of our dreams and our hopes and our potential. And when you identify people that remove that concrete and let the light in, sprint towards those people, whether you're just following them online or you are watching what they do and figuring out how to do something similar that is your own. That is how those seeds in your soul, those dreams that you have that are uniquely yours, will actually start to grow. And you can use other people that you either admire or that you can't stand as directional signals that help you move toward what's meant for you.
Man, can we just speak forever? I could do this forever with you, Mel. But Mel, I've got 2 final rapid fire questions for you. The first one is, and I've asked you this before, so I'm curious to see if it has changed. What does real success mean to you?
Oh, real success is just waking up every morning and seeing a person in the mirror that I love and encourage and celebrate.
Love that. And the final thing is, what is something about Mel Robbins that we will not find on Google?
Oh my God. That's a great question. Well, there's probably a lot. It might surprise people to know that I'm more introverted than you would think. My work is very extroverted because I get so much joy sharing the things that I'm learning and connecting with other people. And it is energizing, which I guess is the definition of being extroverted. But you will not find me out on the weekends. You will not find me, at the big parties. You won't find me doing the big things. I am a true homebody. Nothing makes me happier than being home and being surrounded by our family and close friends and I way prefer kind of one-on-one connections than big parties. That might surprise people.
That is amazing. Mel, as usual, it has been an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. I just love you.
Oh. That interview was everything I could have wished for and so much more. If you love this episode, be sure that you are checking out all our episodes in the playlist and see what you may have missed out on. As always, it has been my honor and privilege to serve you today, and I look forward to doing it again next week.